In this episode, we're going to tackle a serious topic of how the loss of a loved one affects your physical health and then also what you can do about it. So tune in and hopefully this helps you if you're going through one of these difficult seasons yourself.
Welcome to the CrossFit Edwardsville Community Podcast, where we hear and learn from our coaches, CrossFitters, and Glen Ed community leaders. Now, here are your hosts, Dallas and Greg.
So in this episode, I want to address the topic of how you are physically impacted by the loss of a loved one. So you can understand and better appreciate like what your body is going through in those moments, and then also give you some very practical steps for how to approach it, how to navigate those choppy waters. What brought this up for me was recently in my jiu-jitsu community, we had the sudden, shocking, unfortunate loss of one of our jiu-jitsu brothers who died suddenly, unexpectedly, and he was young. It's still like I'm still trying to wrap my brain around it. But then it's a normal part of life too. Some of the people that I hang out with, some of the groups I'm a part of are older folks, and it's a normal part of life that we all die. We have a 100% death rate as humans. We're all going to die at some point. And as we go through life, we're going to lose loved ones. Sometimes it's a person. Sometimes it's somebody really close to you. Sometimes it's somebody farther away from you. Sometimes it's a dog. But all of us are going to need to have ways of getting through these seasons of loss in a thoughtful and intelligent way. And I'm hoping that the research and the homework that I did for this podcast can be a part of the solution for you. If you're going through this now, how can you get through this season in a way that preserves your mental, your physical, your emotional well-being as much as possible? So that's the topic for today. And I want to start by addressing what are the immediate effects in the aftermath of a loss. This can be the hardest part for a lot of people. So in the immediate aftermath of a loss, you see elevated cortisol and stress hormones because grief activates your sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight response, and that spikes your cortisol. And having prolonged high cortisol can do a lot of negative things to your body, including suppressing immune function, increasing your blood pressure, increasing your resting heart rate, screwing with your digestion, interrupting your sleep. You might see sensations or experience chest pain, tightness, what's sometimes known as broken heart syndrome, quote unquote, which the more technical term, if you care, is stress cardiomyopathy. Stress cardiomyopathy is the medical term for this, but it's a very real documented phenomenon where you have this intense grief that temporarily weakens your heart muscles. You actually physically feel it in your chest. That can happen. Sleep disturbance is very normal. Insomnia, restless sleep. Sometimes, for some people, vivid dreams. Depending on you, you may experience appetite changes, and this goes both directions. Some people see increased appetite, eating more as a way of physically addressing or medicating or masking negative feelings. For others, they'll lose their appetite and not eat at all. And both of these can lead to digestive issues as well. And then stuff like fatigue and body aches are also some of the normal short-term health factors, health effects of loss. Then there are longer-term health risks as well. So over time, if you have unresolved or chronic grief, this can increase your risk for heart disease, as mentioned before, a weaker immune system, higher blood pressure, GI problems, mental health conditions like depression or anxiety, And each of those can lead to other negative side effects. And so it is completely normal to experience one or a cocktail of these symptoms when you're reeling from the loss of somebody you care about. But the good news is there are some things that you can do about it. You're not powerless. There are steps that you can take to get through this a little bit better, a little bit more gracefully. So, right off the bat, and this is all according to grief experts, went and did some homework on this. So, one thing you can do is regulating your stress physiology, And this could mean, depending on what, there are a few ideas here that may resonate with you. One is actually doing a mindful breathing practice like the 4-7-8 technique or box breathing. If you're new to these ideas, the best thing you can do is just to Google 4-7-8 breathing technique or box breathing, or you can breathe in for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8, for example. These breathing techniques can actually really help to reduce some of the feelings of tension or anxiety or chest pain. Gentle movement like yoga, tai chi, going for a walk outside, a walk in nature can be very healing for some people. Progressive muscle relaxation techniques before bed. Again, Google that specific thing if that sounds of interest to you. All of these are ways you can regulate your stress physiology. Prioritizing rest can also be a key category of activity in the aftermath of a loss, because grief-related insomnia is very common and it's a very normal and real thing. So having a wind down routine in the evening before bed, if you don't already have one, creating one, practicing, and doing one regularly can be helpful. And this could include stuff like limiting your exposure to screens or blue light before bed, keeping a consistent sleep schedule, meaning going to bed at a certain time, getting up at a certain time. Some people respond well to calming herbal teas like your chamomile, your lemon balm. Others respond well to doing naps as a way of bringing their tension down, relaxing the system around midday. So prioritizing rest is another category. A third category, nourishing your body. There is never a situation in life in which eating healthy is not going to be a part of the solution. Even if your appetite is low or shot, even having simple, small, nutrient-dense foods, whole foods, real foods, solid foods, could be a really good way of giving your body the things that it needs to process and metabolize the stress, work through the hormones in a healthy way. Stay hydrated. This is something we should always do, is be sure to drink enough water throughout the day. I've got my goals for water intake every single day, and you should too. At a minimum, you may consider just having a large water bottle with you and having a target of trying to get through that once a day, twice a day, 3 times a day, and gradually progressing your ability over time. Also, there are some gentle supplements like magnesium that can help to regulate your stress and your sleep. My wife has started drinking these supplements that have magnesium threonate, and she really feels as though it makes a meaningful difference in how her quality of sleep at night. She's not presently going through the loss of a loved one, but you don't have to be going through the loss of a loved one to try this out and see if it actually helps to improve your sleep quality and quantity. It's worth investigating. So these are all different, like, nourish your body ideas. Connecting to others and processing this with the assistance of others is also a really good idea. Even minimal social contact like texts, calls, a friendship group, a support group, has been shown to boost oxytocin and reduce cortisol. And that can help to calm your nervous system, because some people need to physically process the emotions that they're going through, physically work through those things. So like for some people, even after you've lost a loved one, writing a letter to them to express any unsaid thoughts or feelings, for some people it's therapeutic just to get their thoughts out on paper. It's also, it can be okay just to cry it out. Tears contain stress hormones. It's literally a release for you. And then honoring anniversaries or memories with rituals or creative outlets. I know some folks that like to regularly visit the grave of a loved one, leave them a little love note, leave them flowers, and that can help them to work through these complex emotions that we all go through. My wife, many years ago, experienced the tragic loss of a loved one, a girl she considered to be like a daughter, on New Year's Eve, associated with a drunk driver. And every year around New Year's, she has to work through these really challenging emotions all over again. The anniversary of a loss can be a time where these strategies can be really the most helpful, because a lot of times you'll really step into those feelings again and you'll feel them in the most palpable way all over again. Having a way of honoring the memory of somebody with a ritual or a creative outlet can be super valuable. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't at least mention when to seek help, because sometimes you need it. And there's nothing wrong with that if you do. So if you experience physical symptoms of loss for more than a couple months, or if grief is interfering with your daily functioning after a couple of months, it may be wise to reach out to a mental health professional, a grief counselor, or even your primary care physician to rule out any other underlying conditions. So consider that. Don't write that off, especially speaking to you guys out there. A lot of us as men, we're very reluctant to reach out for help, especially like medical help. But hopefully with this podcast, I can at least partially destigmatize that for you, so you look at it as a very real, very healthy option, a good way of navigating these waters, because sometimes we need help, and that's not a sign of weakness. A lot of times, as the expression goes, it's a sign of strength if you acknowledge your need for help and you reach out for it. And I hope that you do. So we've talked about how loss affects your physical health, both in the short term and the longer term, what you can do about it via various strategies. I want to close with a final thought. Grief is not necessarily just something that you get over. It's something that you have to learn to carry in an intelligent way over time. Tending to your body while grieving is a deeply compassionate act, both for yourself and to honor the loved one you lost. They don't want you to suffer. I think we can all agree on that the loved one that was called to heaven a little sooner than maybe you would have chosen, you could probably agree they don't want you to suffer. They want you to look back on the times you had together fondly, with love and affection and positively. But that said, if you are going through something right now, or if you're supporting somebody who is, I want you guys to know I'm here for you too. So you can reach out to me also if you need somebody to talk to, just to get some stuff off your chest. Anyway, I hope this podcast was helpful for you guys. Much love, and we'll see you guys in the next one.